So kind of a transition day, coming off an off day. I thought we got a lot of good situational work done. Third down period, red zone period, kind of off to the sidelines, utilizing the helmet communication with both defense and offense. Any questions?
What are some things you, going into your first preseason game, that you want the guys to really focus in on?
Well, there's a lot. This week I'm going to cover the sideline. I'm going to cover the roles and how we're going to play guys, what we're looking for during the game. It's their first game, if you will, with this staff and me. And so there's a lot to cover relative to everything from when we're traveling, dress, meeting schedule, locker room, all of that. And then I think more specifically to your question, you want to see, hopefully you want to see guys that are playing full speed and they know what to do and you're able to evaluate them versus a different scheme. We've been seeing the same offense or defense, so now we see a different opponent. Hopefully mental errors are reduced, and it's a game always with mistakes, so I keep talking to them about getting on to the next play. That's important. But probably just as easy to answer the question is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see 10 guys in the field. I don't want to see uniforms off after we're done playing, sunglasses on, Gilligan's hats on, interviews during the game. That's what I don't want to see. But we'll communicate all of that.
Do you use it staff-wise as a full dress rehearsal, or do you split up, play calling? How do you sort of
we haven't even talked about it. Thursday's practice, we'll come onto the field, out of the, I think that's south, out of the south corner, and we'll paint the picture. Our bench is over there in Arizona. It'll be the first time they see what we do pregame, stretch-wise. Yeah, I mean, it'll be game-like. We'll go through all of that. And part of the reason today for the clock, the 40-second clock, is just the sense of urgency of in and out, up and down, on and off. The tempo we've been stressing, there's a lot we're giving the quarterbacks at times. Obviously, if you get to the line of scrimmage with 15 seconds, there's a lot you can do. If you get to the line of scrimmage with 6 seconds, there's not a whole lot you can do. So working through the mechanics of all of that.
How much dialogue is there with what coaches are going to be where and guys that maybe especially guys you work with?
We kind of had a meeting already with who's up, who's down. Part of it's limited to the space up. I'm not familiar with a lot of unrecognizable faces on the sidelines. You guys seen enough NFL games compared to college games. There are not a lot of people, players. If you're dressing, you're 47 and you start looking at the sideline, you have your coaches, your trainers, So all of that will be discussed before we head to Arizona and who's where. Now in the preseason, it's busier. Understanding if you're a special teams player, your rotational pattern in this game, first half, second half, different than if you're an offensive or defensive player. You might be out on offense or defense and still be in the kicking, that kind of thing.
John, we went into kind of looking at Taylor Grimes during the draft process, and what have just been your impression of him?
Well, look, you look for traits and somebody that can separate, and there's priority free agents. There's guys that you're looking to draft, and sometimes you end up signing a guy that may be a draftable player, but you're looking for some redeeming trait, and he's got real good football IQ, separates well, so.
you've had success with finding a draft making contributions? What do you tell those guys ahead of these opportunities? And how
Well, I think in the first meeting we had, we discussed who's in the room. There's 90 players here. Let's say, 30 are rookies. Let's say 6, 7 are draft picks, a bunch of undrafted free agents from other teams. Everyone's got a story as to how they got in that first meeting, but we're going to go by, what we see from here. I think it's important to try to remove how they got here and really pay attention to what you're seeing. Sometimes that's harder than it, easier said than done, but there's two elements to a team that's got a lot of history with free agents. You'd say the first part is the evaluation process. You're finding guys that fit certain traits, and then the second part is holding true. It's my second year, I think, in New Orleans, we drafted a running back in the 4th round, and then we signed a free agent named Pierre Thomas. And by the time we were halfway through camp, it was evident that Pierre was playing really well. So you can look at it like, well, did you make a mistake with the 4th round pick, or did you just find a free agent maybe that is better? And I think the latter would be the case. And we ended up keeping Pierre and waiving the draft pick. And so sometimes that happens. But I think trust in your eye throughout the evaluation process, and we're still early in that process right now, but really paying attention to how these guys are performing, and then what's the vision for the player if he's on your 53? How do you see him year one? Some guys might be more developmental. Some guys may be ready right away. And then the veteran players the same way. You don't have to see it every day, but you still need to see it. You still need to see it, and that's important as well. Whoa.
Third down was a point of emphasis. What did you think of how those periods went on?
Well, I want to look at the tape. Obviously, there was a lot going on. We had a whole third down script, and then we mixed the down and distance. So I don't look until I go up and watch the film and see all the specifics. Sometimes you got good protection and you're not doing something on the route. Sometimes defensively you're on point and maybe you give up a play. But I'll take a peek at the tape and we'll get a better idea. A lot of stuff we can coach off of, which we're constantly doing.
What's the biggest difference you see with Justin Simmons and without?
Well, look, he's a veteran player, great communicator. He's someone that was always in the right spot. He's savvy, he's smart. So some other younger guys, will step in. He tweaked like a groin a couple days ago. We'll be smart with him and eventually get him back. But in the meantime, other guys will get a chance to get in and get some reps. But when you lose someone with his experience, but also his IQ, his football IQ is pretty rare.
Like, what are your thoughts? Play Friday then?
You asked me, is that your second question? You only get one.
Your thoughts on Ronnie Dixon, how he looked, and the big picture, why did you want to bring him in as punter?
Yeah, look, he's got a real good leg. He's smart. He can throw it. He played quarterback in high school. So we'll have knowing Westhoff, we'll have a plethora of plays that we can utilize that. And I think it's important. His consistency. He's really had a good camp. We worked some back or going in punts. He's got really good leg talent, and then just the athleticism. When you have a former quarterback, what it does maybe is it simplifies some of the rush plans you get. Also, if you have a punter that can throw, then you got to give thought to, how you're going to rush him, and knowing that he's talented enough, and that we're certainly going to be willing to do that. Well, we have to. All right. So it starts with that. We have to. Patrick will put it together, hand it to the coordinators. They'll hand it to me. We'll tweak it. And then just understand we can't write it in pencil, but it's in pencil. Man, he's smart. He's in the right gap. He's consistent. We had a player. I'm not comparing him to this player. They play different positions. We had a player in New Orleans, Trey Hendrickson, that just was a handful, with each snap, energy and effort. And Zach's that way, down in, down out, and really, really consistent. It takes a lot of energy especially when you're playing inside to play that way, you know. And so he's got real good stamina. I've been really pleased with him.
What kind of flexibility is a play caller? Does a fullback like Burton make him do a little bit of a lot of different things?
Yeah, it doesn't affect your play calling flexibility. It probably affects your play design flexibility a little bit relative to, you know, I've been with Bert before. He's smart. You know exactly what you're getting on Wednesday night. You hear me say that, you know, and that's a real good trait. So that allows you to put him in positions. You know, we ran a little short motion, put him in the flat today. And he's someone that can play in the special teams, so there's a clear vision with him.
Coach, how long will he start his play on Friday?
We haven't. I'll give that to you later in the week. You know, I don't look at length. I look at snaps. So, I don't know, 15 snaps, 17, 18 snaps, somewhere in there. Phase 1, then phase 2, then phase 3. You know, but yeah, you could be in phase 1 on offense and phase 2 on defense because the game started with maybe a lot of plays where your defense was on the field, if that makes any sense. So it's not time in the game. It's really more of a pitch count for these guys.
Hey, Coach, do you ever think the guardian camps might be part of the reducing games?
I don't know. It's a good question. I read an article the other day where someone suggested that. But it's good to have them on now and, you know, for us to be able to reduce those helmet impacts now. That's a good question. I don't know.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Coach just said starters are gonna play about 15, 18 snaps yet. I guess completely decided, but is that more exciting? You're gonna go back to Arizona, you get to get on the field a little bit, or?
Yeah, definitely be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice too to just get some game action. I think they're really helpful, and yeah, excited to go back to Arizona, see some old familiar faces. So it'll be fun.
Defense that Vance brought over from Arizona, how have you seen him implement that same game with wrinkles, adjustments for trying to be like that?
Yeah, I think he's done a terrific job of kind of keeping the concepts and trying to make the terminology easy for everybody. And I think it's been a really kind of seamless transition, and guys are really picking it up well.
Guys coming to you because he's playing in the system, kind of a student teacher, so to speak.
Yeah, I think in the beginning I was, but I think now, we had a really good off season. Guys kind of, it's really familiar now, so I think we're all on the same page.
How do you feel just overall about your training camp? It looks like you've been kind of all over the place.
It's been good. Definitely, still cleaning some things up, but yeah, I think this is the time where you kind of just try new things. So seeing what works, what doesn't work, and luckily we have a really good offensive line, so to test those things out. So if it works against them, it's credible, and if it doesn't, then they're really good about talking about kind of what they're seeing and why it does or doesn't work.
Coach just talked about how impressed he is with your ability to bring it every single play. Is that something you've always had? Did you pick that up from someone throughout the way?
Yeah, no, I think it's just, that's probably just kind of the way I was raised and kind of the way that I was taught to play the game. I had a lot of old school Italian coaches growing up, so No, I'm very fortunate for the coaches I did have and the way they coached me. And even in the NFL, I've had a lot of great coaches. So, yeah, I think it's the way the game's meant to be played, and, just trying to do that.
Is it different now where maybe more eyes are on you because of the free agent contract and you're around some young players on that defensive line? Is there kind of that, you setting that example being more important given your role in this team?
Yeah, I think I always tried to lead by example, and at the end of the day, if you make sure that you're doing what you need to do, and hopefully you're setting a good example, guys will follow. But I think our whole room and whole defense, we have a lot of hard workers and guys that just really get it, and a lot of guys have been great about asking questions too, and yeah, it's just been a great group to be around.
How much great out the front seven right now? Where are some points of emphasis? How do you think?
Yeah, I think we've been doing really good. And like I said, it's training camp, so it's not going to be 100%, but that's why we practice. And, these games too, we're still going to be working out some kinks. So, all that matters is just getting ready for week 1.
Last time we saw you, pads weren't on yet. You said you were looking forward to seeing how Lloyd, Quinn, and Mendy. What's been your impression of them so far? How have you guys been able to engage with them?
It's been great. Yeah, a lot of great work. The impressive thing with all 3 of them is, obviously I think you can see, their size on the sheet. I mean, they're huge, but it's how well they move with that size. So they really, they're all around just, really good. And yeah, I'm very, lucky to be going against them in practice and not in an actual game. Love Randy. He's again another high motor guy, but just got all the athletic ability in the world, and he's seen a lot of football too. So it's been great to with him and Frank kind of pick their brains, and he's just awesome, and love rushing with him.
Zach, I think Katie the other day said Vance. Some people say, "Oh, we call it this size." He's like, "Okay, that's what it's called now." So that caught you the other way, where you're like, "Well, I'm used to it being called this. Now I have to learn to live for everybody else."
Yeah, I think I'll bite the bullet on that one, and I'll be the the 1 versus the 40 or whatever it is. I'll be the one that have to learn all the lingo. So no, it's fine. It's honestly, and a lot of it too is it's all kind of similar stuff. It's not we're not reinventing the wheel here. So. It's been great, yeah. A guy who had a great offseason, really worked hard, and just again another guy you love playing with, and everybody's rooting for him because he works so hard and such a good guy, and yeah, you're just kind of seeing the you're seeing the benefits of that work right now, so it's been great. Yeah, I do that in my own head, kind of, but also I think part of my thing is I just want to take it one day at a time, and if you stack enough days and keep making enough improvement, then the results follow. So no, that's all we're really trying to do here right now is just day by day, brick by brick. So no. Yeah, you can ask my mom about that one, but I definitely probably drove her crazy a couple too many times. But yeah, I definitely, I have to be doing something. I can't just be sitting still. So yeah.
So you mentioned you've been chasing Russ since you came into the league as a division opponent. Does he still look the same to you as you're chasing down drink camp in terms of athleticism and his kind of maneuverability?
Yeah, he's still fast. Yeah, there's definitely a couple of times where after practice we'll be, I think I got you, and he'll say, no, you didn't, and then we have to watch the film, and, sometimes I did get him, sometimes I didn't get him. So, no, he's still a great athlete, and, just very fortunate to have him, and he's looked great.
What are your emotions going to be, you think, this week going back to Arizona and just full stop the ground?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be, nice to be back, see the same people, stuff like that, but, it's a business trip, so, I can go back in the off season and see those people, for, a more intimate time, but this right now is, we're here to work. All right, thanks, guys.
That's it for the podium.